everyone. I've got Tyson Cook here from Security Home Mortgage, and I just wanted to take some time to kind of show him off a little bit and let him take the floor and kind of explain what he's doing, especially with all the fun stuff that's going on with this pandemic. So, Tyson, the floor is now yours. If you would like to kind of talk about who you are, what Security Home Mortgage does, and how you guys are doing with this pandemic.
Yeah, so we are a residential mortgage company. So we do loans for people to buy houses, and that can be purchases. We also do refinances, um, and yeah, we've still been really busy, which has been good. Despite what you may hear, the mortgage industry in Utah is still going pretty strong. Uh, there's a lot of people that want to buy houses because we still have good job growth in Utah. Obviously, unemployment is higher now than it has been in the past, but with how diversified our job market is, that's really what's still driving housing. And there's still people that are renting and want to become homeowners, or people that have moved here for jobs expecting to buy a home. So, yeah, despite all the craziness and the adjustments we've had to make, there's still hope in the housing industry. And it's very different circumstances. Even though we're in a recession now, it's very different than the recession in 2008, which was focused and in part caused by the housing industry. So very different circumstances.
Is there any tips you have as an expert in your field that you can give potential customers and clients?
Yeah, so one is to make sure you're getting information from the correct place. Um, we had this conversation the other day with some of my colleagues that people tend to make irrational choices when they lack information and when they're scared. And so with this pandemic, there is some reason for fear, but if you have the right information, that should help your fear, and then you'll have information to make powerful choices. So talk to a mortgage professional, talk to a real estate professional, talk to somebody that knows what's going on and is truly an expert in the field. Reading headlines isn't a great way to get informed. So I always tell people a conversation with me, or really anybody in the industry, is free. We're not going to charge you to give you information. So if you want to buy a home, don't just assume now is a bad time. If you've been considering refinancing and you've heard that rates are low, rates are still pretty low. So just have a conversation and I'll tell you one way or the other. Yeah, this is a great time to refinance. No, maybe you should wait. And then at least you have the information to make a good decision and you're not just wondering and assuming it's a bad time.
I love that. I love that so much. I guess another thing, has there been anything on your mind that you'd like to share about this that you've been thinking about?
It's a weird time, and there's a lot out there. And as far as my industry goes, I think the best thing to do is kind of what I said before, just talk to somebody. Just don't let your mind wander. And if you're in a good spot, then don't worry about it. Housing is still probably the strongest part of the Utah economy, if not one of the strongest. There's a lot of jobs in Utah. There's a lot of tech jobs in Utah, which haven't been affected as much. People have adjusted working from home. A lot of those businesses are still up and running. A lot of my clients are still fully employed. So despite the bad things that inevitably come from a pandemic like this, there's still a lot of reason for hope. And your house is still your most valuable asset. Even if just sitting on it right now is the best you can do, just do that. And it may not appreciate as fast as it has the past few years, but it's still going to be a good asset. And I guess that leads me to think of something else, that if you're having trouble making your mortgage payment, you should try to do that above all else. There's a lot in the news about mortgage forbearance and getting a break on your mortgage, but most of the time what happens when you go into forbearance is you have to pay the full amount of the time that you weren't making payments. So for example, if your mortgage servicer says you can go into forbearance for 4 months, well, on that 5th month, you're paying the entirety of the time you were in forbearance. So that might lead to foreclosure. So the best thing you can do is talk to your servicer and completely understand, get all the information about what that means and be prepared for it.
Mm.
But you're still going to put yourself in the best situation if you can just make that mortgage payment.
I love that. That is all really good advice. And I guess in closing, the only other thing I can think of asking is has there been anything during this time that you're like, okay, prior to this pandemic, we weren't doing this, but now that we've experienced this actually isn't so bad, and we'll probably continue this practice moving forward.
Yeah, I think that our industry has made some good adjustments in the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years to do things electronically. It used to be to get a mortgage, you sign out everything in person, you bring in all your documents to the office, but now we're actually set up to do everything online. And I like to meet with people in person at least once during the process, even if it's just at closing. That's the one part you still have to actually sign in person is at closing. And even that's trending towards electronic. But um, yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to do everything uh, quick and easy online. You can do everything from your house. You don't have to come into the office if you don't want to. After this is over, I would still like to meet my clients at least once. It's been weird to not even go to closings. The title companies haven't even wanted us to come in at closing. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. But uh, the online platform of Zoom or other video conferencing tools has been really cool. And I think I'll utilize that a little more. It's a little more personal than a phone call. And we've done things with groups. Like yesterday, we actually did a group Q&A with a bunch of real estate agents. And it was cool to just get on and have a flowing conversation and be able to see everybody. And it wasn't an inconvenience for them to have to leave their houses and actually come to the office. So we'll probably do more of that. Just use the technology that we have, that we were kind of forced to use through this, and
Sure.
take better advantage of it.
I love that, Tyson. Thank you so much for your time. I think this is really awesome information that a lot of people are going to appreciate. I know for myself personally, I know a lot of people who are still in the market for house buying, and so it's good to have this information. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica.